of incarnation, reincarnation. And yes, that does bring in aspects of the human soul, human consciousness. This goes far beyond just the UFO, the nature of reality. We don't even know what we represent as human beings. We don't even know where we come from. We don't really know about our genesis other than the Sunday school version that we've been sold by the scientific establishments that will not change within its limited viewpoint of what they consider is truth. So then, bizarrely, years later, I then ended up getting involved with Rendlesham Forest. And my good friend Peter Robbins over there, bless him, I met him, me and my brother and Susan, a friend of ours, met him many years ago. And he said, you've got to go to Rendlesham. There's a lot of strange things happening out there. Sorry, Peter, I just thought, you've got to go there. You've got to go there. And he's right. There were a lot of strange things happening. And what we did, I'm not going to go into all of the things that happened there. It is a very strange place. Paul Sinclair with Bempton, you know, on a geographical level, there's a lot of strange things happening that he's documented and recorded within his research and books. The same with Skinwalker Ranch. And Rendlesham seems to be a hotspot for UFO activity. And I remembered when I was a young lad reading in the national newspapers about this UFO and subsequent aliens apparently that have been seen, although that's dubious, but there we are. It depends on the nature of the reality that's occurring within the individual as this is all occurring, the high strangeness of it. I got involved with Rendlesham. I'm a lot older there, so I was younger when I was doing the research there. And on the 8th of June, 1998, we had an experience there that again changed my concept of reality completely. A week before, because we'd been going to and from Rendlesham to do our research over a 10-year period, just me, Ronnie and Susan, I'd also met Brenda Butler out there, who was the original author of Sky Crash, A Cosmic Conspiracy, that she co-wrote with Brenda Butler co-wrote with Dot Street and Jenny Randalls, the British ufologist. And I got out the car one day and I said, I'd really love to meet Brenda Butler. I didn't know where she was in the world, anywhere. I didn't know she was there. And on this particular occasion, we're walking around the forest. We see some lights that we thought, first of all, were UFOs. And we go up there and we find that there's this lady there with a gentleman and a big white German shepherd. And it was the lady going in there with some strange music. And as we passed them, I said, hello. And she said, hello. And I said, I then had this compulsion to go back and see her and say, are you looking for the orbs? And she looked at me and she said, yes, why? I said, because I'm hoping to find Brenda Butler. And she said, my dear, I am Brenda Butler. So that is how I connected with her and Brenda, and her friend showed us some film footage of a grey that they caught on camera that I'd never seen on TV. And my brother saw that as well with Susan. But on the 8th of June 1998, on one of these visits to the forest, we decided to perform an experiment. And this experiment occurred within my mind when I heard the song from Karen Carpenter, Calling Occupants. I do love Karen Carpenter. She's an amazing artist. She was an amazing artist. No longer with us, sadly. So I thought, are we able to call occupants from these crafts? So a week before we went, Susan, Ron and I performed a psychic experiment. There's nothing to lose. We sat in a circle in darkness and we just sent our thoughts out saying, we're coming to the forest on the 8th of June 1998. Please show yourself. We won't take any recording equipment at all because we just want it to be a personal experience. I don't care if people don't believe. You'll find that when you get involved in this, it becomes personal. It is personal. So we get to the 8th of June 1998. We get to the forest. It's a lovely night. The stars are out, the moon's there. And I go into the area of Capel Green. It's a part of where the farmer's field is, that's outside the forest. The forest is huge. So we set up camp, and I go out there into the farmer's field, and half of the farmer's field is crop, the other half is rough terrain. And I'm frightened because Brenda's warned us, she wasn't with us on this occasion, that the farmer sometimes fires off shots to scare people off his land. You can't blame him. They've now since fenced off the area, but then there was no fence there. So I go out there with a pair of dowsing rods, with a cream jumper on at night, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm there, everyone can see me. And I find this spot within the field, and I say, we need to sit here. I don't know, I was just trying my luck with the dowsing rods. So we all get in there, we sit down, we meditate, we get up, and then all of a sudden what happens is that this was, I think, 7 minutes past 10 p.m, where we saw a red light by the farmer's house coming forward. And we thought, first of all, that we'd been seen by the farmer and he was coming out in his car or his vehicle, whatever vehicle he had, to chase us off the land. So Ronnie and Susan ran back to the edge of the forest, and then I stopped and thought, well, I may be colourblind, but I know that a car's light is not red, and there's more than one, there's two. The light came very close. It was like a spinning thing, and then it shot through the part of the field that was dirt and then into the crop. We thought, wow, that was incredible. But no, the best was yet to come. At precisely 10:15 p.m, where we were positioned across to Capel Green, there was a flash of light, and the only way I can explain it to you is that there was a pyramid device above these trees. There was a gap and a circular appendage. The top of the pyramid was producing light within its infrastructure. There was no symbols or anything on it. There was a gap, and under the circular appendage was a bank of blue lights. Well, one started to rotate one way, and the other rotated the other. So it was like a witch's hat, but with a gap, and it kind of like in circumference to one another. And it didn't make any noise. That was it. I started running towards it because Susan and Ronnie were looking at it in the binoculars, and I remembered feeling like a half-crazed hominid, going through the crop. Didn't care if I was going to get into trouble. I wanted to get to that. It was amazing. And my jeans were getting soaked as I ran through the crop. And then, of course, when I get close to it, it's incredible. But then I tripped. And then as I tripped, because I was running so fast, right underneath it, it went out like someone had switched the lights off, and it had gone. And when I fell, I took in a load of dirt. I cried, then I laughed, because I thought no one on earth is going to believe this. It was incredible. Now, the next day, it was surreal. I contacted a UFO magazine, and I spoke to an editor called Breen Forbes, and Breen Forbes said to me, you send all the information, and he said, I will forward this to Peter Robbins. First of all, I didn't know, I kept asking the man how to spell his name. I thought, well, you don't know that I know Peter Robbins. How did you know that? I just left it. We did the diagrams, we did the drawings. As God is my witness, we sent that all to the magazine. We heard nothing. So I phoned the magazine up, and they say, we've never heard of the editor that you're speaking of. Conspiracy? I don't know. That was that, and that's been detailed. And no one wanted to know about it because it was all about the 1980 event. I understand, with Colonel Charles Holt, we met him, he's a lovely guy, very sharp, and it's almost as if that they didn't want to talk about it. It's like no one wanted to discuss it. But that is what happened there. And I'll just show you something. On one of the research exploits that we did, I used my old mobile phone to take photographs just of the forest in daylight. This is in daylight. And can anyone see anything that they think is bizarre in that picture at all?
Yeah.
I did have a clearer copy of it with another female that I was associated with, but I've split from her and I no longer have an image of that, the blown up cover. And there is that, I can't remember what's that thing called where you can try and make things out of images or shadows. Yeah, but let me tell you, with that there, on closer inspection, my interpretation is it looks like a North American Indian in armour, half built up. Let me just see. I think this is a very rough, and you can see that. I didn't see this on the phone when it came out. It was the other lady that I was with that saw it, and it looks to me like some Hispanic person wearing a covering and armour and a strap across here. The legs haven't built up in part of the arm. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you this very strange image. That then led on to me co-authoring a book called Sky Crash Sharp Time that Capelbaum Publishing Limited brought out in 2013. I was very proud of it, but unfortunately it didn't do very well because people assumed that it was all about the 1980 event. However, UFO Royalty, Mr. Philip Mantle, is re-releasing the book, and we've given it a different title, and yes, you can see that it's got a little... And the strange thing is that the reptilian on there is a reason why, because Brenda Butler was involved with someone called David Daniels, very strange character that was supposed to be a reptilian, and he had infiltrated a lot of ufologists back after the 1980 incident. So I found myself going down the rabbit hole really well and truly with regards to the research of this, and I was very honoured for Brenda to open up some of her files for me, because she was linked with Lord Admiral Michael Norton, and Peter and us were having a bit of a laugh about that yesterday, in a nice way, like reflecting some things about, he was telling us about him, and many other top researchers like Lieutenant Colonel Wendell Stevens, and others, and Jenny Randalls. It was very, very strange. So I'm sorry, I'm not, selling, it's not a